We've now moved, as the sun has just disappeared over the hill. We've left the stock behind and they're feeding gently as night falls, and we're now down by one of the creeks that crosses Peter and Manuel's property. And Peter, I'd like you to say what it is that the Natural Resources Management Board would like you to do with this very beautiful natural creek. Just to describe it a little, around us you can see water grasses, you can see clumps of wild garlic, which your lovely wife Mary uses in her splendid cooking, and I can tell you how good that is. And you have various trees, obviously following the line of the water, and of course you can see this is what we would regard as a kind of water meadow here. Yeah. Now, what would the Natural Resources Management Board like you to do to this very beautiful and really wonderfully unspoilt spot?
Well, they would like us to fence it all off. And how far do we go out with our fences? Because in a year with just average rainfall, we don't just get the water going down the creek. The water will come right out, and you can see out here where the water goes. So how far do I have to fence it off? Now, in doing that, it's a major cost. It is not going to do anything to protect this waterway. All it's going to do is stop native animals coming freely to drink from the creek when the creek's flowing, and my stock, because they talk about pristine water. And when I've asked them about what do you mean by this pristine water, well, we want to stop animal feces, mainly our cows and sheep, drinking out of the water because they want to keep the water pristine. Well, in actual fact, microorganisms feed off animal feces. It is part of the ecosystem. So that sort of little idea that they've got is well and truly up the creek. Now,
just to get this clear, I like the pun. When the water flows through here, this is not in fact drinking water for people. This is just natural water that flows through the land.
Exactly.
You would therefore expect that even if there weren't any cattle here, there would be kangaroos and others drinking
kangaroos
here. And no doubt they haven't been told by the Natural Resources Water Board that they mustn't take a dump just here. So there will be animal feces in the water anyway.
Exactly.
So now they're saying that the balance of nature is to be disturbed, the environment is to be harmed, this beautiful spot is to be covered with fences, and the kangaroos and other critters that would normally come and drink here, as well as your own stock, will not be allowed to do so. Are they also going to make you alter the landscape by doing planting?
Yes, they want all this, as we've said earlier on, prickly acacia and other native species. Now bear in mind, these creeks are dry at the moment, so when we're forced to plant all this, I call it scrub.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes, they're weeds, aren't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, and this creek goes for miles, can you imagine what it's going to be like in the summertime when the growth is up here, dense,
yes,
and not only the when it does catch fire, and I've had a fire just over the back here about 10 weeks ago, but these creeks are going to be a wick for a major bushfire.
So in other words, you plant all this kerosene bush and other highly inflammable and very densely planted scrub.
Yes.
That's really what it's just scrub, weeds.
It is.
And then if a bushfire comes, and of course it comes across the grass quite quickly from tree to tree, and then it finds its way along to the creek, which of course is dry when you get bushfires, it's the dry season, and then all the way up the creek and all the way down the creek, the fire will roar along on this special route which has been prepared for it by the Natural Resources Management
Well, maybe
Board.
that's their idea.
Tell me more about that.
About their idea?
Yeah.
Well, people have, and this is what comes out of my mouth, Lord Monckton, is not just my ideas. I listen to a lot of people.
Yes.
And people are starting to wake up to what's going on here. Because when you add all the lunacy up about restricting our water use, restricting our stocking rates, fencing off our creeks, fencing off our dams, people are saying to me, this is reducing our food bowl. This is making our state a more dangerous place for bushfires. So in a sense where we're cutting back on our water, where are we going to be when I need to fight these fires when we've got low flow bypasses on our dams?
Yeah, so there's no water to fight the fires with.
There's no fence off our creeks and our dams so we can't get to them quickly, or if a plane or the helicopter wants to land to suck water out of our dams, which I'm quite happy for them to do, but I'm not going to have the water for them to have.
So, if I remember rightly, in Victoria, not that long ago, there was a person who lived in a house rather like this in the country, and there was a lot of scrub on his land, And so what he did was he cleared the scrub so that if there was a bushfire in his area, it wouldn't come and engulf his house.
That's correct.
Sensible enough, you would have thought.
Yes, exactly.
Now, as I understand, he wasn't just fined £35,000. This was a different and even more savage state. They fined him $100,000 just because he cleared this completely useless, valueless scrub from off his land.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, a bushfire came along, and what happened?
Well, he told his neighbours to clear their properties as well, and they didn't take any notice of him.
Yeah.
His home was the only one left standing.
So they had their homes destroyed.
That's right.
All of them, all the neighbours, all the villages.
That's right.
Gone.
Yes.
And there was one house left standing.
Yeah. That was in King Lake.
And that was his house.
That's correct. And that was in King Lake in Victoria, and that guy should have been given a gold medal, not a fine.
And did he then apply for the fine to be repaid to him?
I'm not too sure on exactly what went on there. But, I mean, we can look into it and we can find out a bit about that.
Might be worth doing, because it seems to me that unless people start hitting back at these bureaucracies, they're going to go on pushing you. And the way they do it is they use Napoleon's tactics, which is they're a big organisation, you're lots of individual farmers. So they can come and bully you. They can spy on you, hide in the trees, hide behind the sheds, take photographs, take samples. They can come on your land and issue you an order to do just about anything. They can tell you how to run your farm effectively. But unless you band together and cooperate to fight these idiocies that bid fair to destroy the Australian countryside and the Australian natural environment. These are now the enemies of the natural environment. If you don't stand together, you will be defeated. And it seems to me you've got to be standing together not just in this state, but right across Australia against this growing tendency of what I am going to call the new fascist bureaucracy. To encroach upon your rights to run your land in your own way. And after all, if you didn't protect your own natural environment, you wouldn't be able to farm it successfully anyway.
Exactly, and I think this is their main objective. I really do. But look, Lord Monckton, we certainly appreciate your help. We certainly appreciate the way you are travelling the world, informing people about this Agenda 21, about the carbon tax and about climate change, and giving people the opportunity to hear the other side and hear the true facts.
Well, thank you very much, Peter, and I think I must return the compliment, because you are doing exactly what I've just suggested. You are grouping farmers together and saying, join us, so that jointly we can expose the sheer astonishing quantity of abuses that are being perpetrated by your Natural Resources Management Board here, obviously by the similar organisation in Victoria that ruthlessly fined that individual $100,000 when they shouldn't have done. And if you stand together and fight, this is what you should do. So to all farmers to whom this video may come, get in touch with Peter Manuel here in South Australia and join Farmers and Landowners Action Group Australia, Flag Australia. You have a website.
Certainly do.
Get onto the website, that will tell you how to join. And then Peter will be in touch with you. He is about to become expert in how to use email. At the moment this is a completely computer-free zone. That's all about to change. So you will be able to get in touch with him directly and tell him if you need his help in preventing the extraordinary abuses, some of which we have discussed today. And remember, we have been talking about just one of the numerous environmental busybody organisations who are now threatening the countryside and threatening those who are trying to keep the population of Australia fed. You can fight back and make sure that your right to farm and run your land your way, and to preserve the natural environment in the way that farmers have long done in Australia, will not any longer be trampled upon by the man in shiny suits and shiny shoes. Stand up for yourselves, and in standing up for yourselves and for your farms and for your countryside and for your community, you are standing up not only for your country but also for the freedom of the world against the new environmental tyranny that is the United Nations Agenda 21 Environmental Destruction Programme. Thank you for watching.
If I can just make one point, The Natural Resource Management Board monitors the metropolitan area. So it's just not us food producers. People in the suburbs and the cities need to watch out. And if I can just finally say that a big thanks to the Honourable Anne Bresington MLC that is actually putting up a very good fight for us behind closed doors in Parliament House. And thank you, Lord Monckton.
God bless you and good day.